Hi, I'm Pastor Brook McBride, and I'm the pastor of Bear Creek, a United Methodist Church in Woodinville, Washington. And I've been talking to you about prayer. If you've followed along, this is my 8th video about prayer. And last time I talked about praying for others and what I thought that might, the process, the beginning understanding of what it means to pray for others. And so maybe you're thinking, hey, maybe I should try to pray for others in my life. How do I do that, Pastor Brook? What might be some things that would help me as I move towards this? And so we're going to try practicing praying for someone else. First thing I want to say about praying for somebody else is if you can, and if you have it in your heart to pray for them with them, that is something that is just amazing. I know you have to go kind of separate yourself from some anxiety sometimes about praying for someone in their presence, but there is, when people are hurting and when they're maybe in the hospital or maybe, you know, going through very, very difficult times, so many times they feel so alone. And there is something wonderful about praying with someone because there's something about that just shows them just in their very souls that they're not by themselves and that not only you are with them, but God's with them. And there's just a great power in that. So that's the first thing I'd have to say. It's not for everybody. It's hard to do, but I encourage you to do that. Sometimes somebody will share what's going on in their lives and they really need prayer. And I'll say, well, I'll pray for them. I'll pray for you. And I do. But I've learned now lately to say instead, hey, how about we have a prayer right now? There's something cool about that. Don't forget about it. But let's say you're at home and you want to pray for some people in your lives. So how do I do this? Well, the first thing I'm doing is when I'm praying for someone else, I'm removing all the stuff that's in the way. Because listen, I'm a human being and I've got a lot of obstacles in me, and I want to be God's instrument. I want God to work through me. So a lot of it is, again, aligning myself to God's spirit, God's goodwill, trying to get rid of all those things that are in the way so that God can use me as an instrument. So, first of all, I'm bowing and I'm listening and I'm trying to move towards God, that great center of life, that great river of love. I'm trying to get close to it so God can use me and work through me. The second thing I'm doing is I am pouring all my good spirit, all my love, all my whatever is in my heart for this person. I am just opening up that heart and giving it to that person. I am pouring it on, man. The goodness. I want everything good to come that person's way. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just giving all my goodwill to them, on as much as I can. And then this is prayer, right? So it's about listening to God too. And so I'm listening to God for where I might be an instrument in that person's life. Oftentimes when I get done with praying for somebody, I find myself feeling God tugging me to do something. Maybe write a note to him, send him a text, call him up, write him a note, like a thank you note or a card, sending them a card. They're usually God wants us to be a part of that, right? That instrument of that healing. And so God's working through me. And God sometimes wants me to do something. Another thing I often do is I'm trying to remind myself and remind that person that God's already there. And so if I'm in a hospital room, I'm praying and giving thanks for the doctors and the nurses and those who are caring for this person and all the loved ones around them that God's working through. I want them to know that God is there. So that's a piece of it for me too. Um, Now, one practice that I've learned to do, and you might laugh at this, but it is important to me. I use rocks in my prayers for others a lot, especially for my loved ones. So I love to go to the beach, and here's a beautiful rock that I found on the beach. And it's a pretty big rock, so I imagine that this is God. So then I take my other rocks that I've collected from the beach, and I've got quite a few here because I have a lot of loved ones, and I will place, now you can't see it very well here, but I will take that rock and I'll place it next to God. And so just I'm trying to bring that person next to the love of God. And that's what I'm doing in my prayers. So one by one, I will place, as I'm naming someone, Cassie or Devin or Emerson, I'll place that rock um, in the presence of God. And that's what my prayer is. Another thing I'll often do is I'll take that rock and I'll just rub it, and I'll think of all the loving ways in which that person is in my life, and I'll give thanks to God for all that that person is. So that's an idea. So I hope this gets you started. Hey, listen, this thing is a powerful thing to pray for others. And if you get going on it, I just know you'll start feeling God working through you. Give it a try.